back to my channel. Today I'm going to be creating 5 different cards using the Scrapping for Less May 2018 card kit. This is the Flavor of the Month card kit, and I did an unboxing video and I will link it up in the cards if you have not seen that video yet. And a lot of you had asked me to go ahead and make some cards from this collection, so that is the video that I'm bringing to you today. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys right now, you'll see a lot of my head. And in this voiceover, if you hear vehicles passing, if you hear vehicles in the background, I'm getting off work and doing this voiceover, so if you have some of those background noises, I apologize, but I'm trying to do this at a time where it's not so busy on my street. So anyway, so with all that said, let's go ahead and talk through all of these cards. So first, I wanted to do as much as I could to keep every collection that they had in the card kit in order. So this first collection is the Country Kitchen collection, and I am trying to take every element, or pretty much every element in the card, each pack, each collection, and creating a card with it. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do, but I'm also wanting to make cards that I know I personally would either give to a friend or family member and not just allow them to sit in my collection, because the whole point of us to make cards, even though I am bad about this myself, is to give them away or, you know, sell them or whatever you want to do with your cards. So I want to create something that obviously that I'm very proud of and that I would go ahead and be proud to give, you know, and hopefully someone would happy to receive too. So I've taken some papers, I've cut them down with some dies, anything that is not in the actual card kit, all of the extra supplies that I can possibly think that I used, I will go ahead and list below in the description bar area where the supplies are. So I have the dies that I used with the pattern papers is from Mama Elephant, and they are a collection, and it makes it very easy to create some card panels or card frames. And I've taken one of the ephemera pack that I received in this kit, and I'm going to use it as a focal panel. I've taken a piece of white cardstock that I had gone ahead and cut down, and then I'm using some of the actual letters that comes in this collection, and I'm creating my own sentiment. I wanted to have that little bit of a decorative stitching edge that I used with the pink pattern paper, and I just did something a little different. I used the little sliver part that got cut away, and I used that part to add to the end there to make it look like it was a part of the stitching. So I've added the letters, and now I'm going to go ahead and create a little bit of a banner end on this white piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to cut that down, make it a little banner shape, kind of fishtail it. I like to cut in the middle and then go from side to side. It makes it so much easier if you don't have a die or a punch or something like that to do this with. This is the easiest way that I have found to do this freehand. So make sure that you also do have some really sharp scissors to do this as well. So I've got that little fishtail in there, and now I'm going to go ahead and add some foam adhesive to this little panel here. And to give it a little bit of dimension, I'm going to take off the paper backings of that and then add this to my card panel. And then once I get that into place, I'm going to take some of the sequins that comes in this collection and add those to the little bitty dots that you see at the very top of that little ephemera piece. I'm going to add some little dots of glue, and I'm using the Connect glue to use with my sequins today. I really have found that using this glue with any type of sequins or embellishments, it really does hold up really well. It's a really good, strong adhesive, and it does not clog. That's the best part I like. It doesn't clog. So that completes card 1 for this collection here. I loved how it turned out, and this whole entire card kit really did make me you know, it really challenged me creatively. So I kind of liked that too, because normally if it were up to me, normally these things I would not put together, but I had fun coming up with different ideas. So now I'm going to work on collection 2, and I'm going to cut down this piece of craft cardstock All the cardstock that comes in this collection, or the card kit itself, is really great quality. I'm not exactly sure, honestly, what brand, but I think the white cardstock and even possibly this cardstock too, this craft piece, is the Nina brand. So if any of you have the Nina brand Desert Storm cardstock, let me know if this is if you can tell on camera whether or not this is what that is. So, because I don't own that cardstock. So I've cut down a piece of the pattern paper, the cow print here. Going to add some tape runner to the back of this. Then I just cut this down with my trimmer. And then I'm going to add this to my A2 size card base. I wanted to have that nice, border of the cardstock all the way around, and it kind of ties it together. Kind of gives that country feel, if you will. Now I've cut down a piece of this pattern here with the red check, and I used a die from Fawn, I believe, and just kind of give that little fancy scalloped edge on all the way around. All of the coloring that you see me on some of these images, I did leave out because this video is going to be long enough, and it's not really a coloring tutorial anyway. This is just me showing you what ideas I come up with each collection. So I apologize that the coloring is not in this one, but I have multitude of coloring videos on my channel. So I went ahead and die cut, I didn't die cut. I actually cut out the cow because it does not have a coordinating die, at least in the collection it doesn't. It probably does. I believe this cow is actually from a different collection from Avriel, but I'm not, or Sunny Studio, but I'm not completely sure on that either. But I did go ahead and fussy cut this image out once I colored it in. Now I added some foam adhesive to the die cut circle. And now I'm taking another one of the ephemera pieces from the collection and just popping this up with some foam tape. And I love this. This is so cute, play on words. It says, how's it going? So cute. And it makes it super simple because you didn't have to stamp it or emboss it or anything. It just comes like that, and it just makes it super simple to add a sentiment. So I'm just going to add this flat directly to my panel here with some tape runner. Get that into place. Then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to take some of the sequins in the pack and add 3 of those sequins onto my card. I always struggle, I don't know about you guys, but I always struggle with where to place my sequins. I think that takes me the longest sometimes whenever I'm adding any type of embellishments because I want them to be pleasing to the eye. So it takes me a little bit to get all of those placed the way I want them. But here is the second card all finished and ready to go. So on to card number 3. This is the third collection. This is what they call the Tiny Checks collection. I've got all 6 of the pattern papers in the collection. And what I plan on doing is using each one of the patterns and each one of the colors, or the pattern's the same, but each one of the colors. And I just cut them down into strips. I believe this is probably about a 1-inch strip, maybe just a little bit bigger. I really kind of eyeball it, to be honest with you. And I'm just going to line each one of these pieces up on this panel of white cardstock that I had left over. Kind of create my own pattern paper, essentially, to create a whole background here. And I am consciously lining up each of those pattern papers to make sure they're all even. And then once I got that, I just kind of cut off the ends there to make it flush. And then just took a die, a cross-stitched die from Mama Elephant. And I die cut that down to get that decorative edge there. Now I've die cut a white circle from just I think this is my Sizzix circle die set. Now taking the stamp set in this collection. And I'm curving my sentiment around so it will fit nicely onto my die cut circle. And I was officially going to, eventually going to use that acetate piece to help me do that. But I was having a hard time doing it that way. I've seen tips and tricks on using the actual die and the acetate piece to help curve your stamp. But for some reason or another, this particular one was giving me difficulties doing that. So I just kind of cleaned off the stamp and just arranged it myself onto the acrylic block, and it worked just fine. So now I'm going to stamp this onto the cardstock panel there, or the die cut piece, with some cilantro ink. Now I'm going to just stamp down my little piggy. It's so cute. He's actually, I know you can't tell on camera right now, but once I get this stamped, you can hopefully see that he is holding a slice of watermelon. He's such a cute little image. So I'm going to get that stamped down with some black ink, which is the Gina K Amalgam black ink. It's a really great black ink for any type of Copic coloring, or if you're going to watercolor or use your colored pencils. I thought I would go ahead and would show you and leave this part of the coloring in so you could see what I did here. I went ahead and colored. I keep wanting to say die cut. Why? I went ahead and colored the pig, but I wanted to show you guys how I added the grass here. So I colored the panel that looks like he's sitting on a hillside, and then adding some little texture with my 1 Copic marker here, and just making little V shapes to make it look like it's blades of grass. So I like how that turned out. And then I took a piece of the green cardstock that came in the kit, die cut it down with another one of those scallop circles, and then adding this piece onto that green cardstock piece and giving it a little bit of a frame there. And then I'm going to pop this up onto my panel as well with some foam adhesive. And I really want to, some of these cards are fairly simple in design, but it's got a lot of color and a lot of interest with the, with the pop-up sentiments and die cut pieces. So that's what I tried to incorporate, especially if I didn't use a whole lot of embellishment. I tried to keep each card that I was making simple enough for, kept it to my style as much as I could, because like I said, a lot of these elements I personally wouldn't have picked for myself, but I wanted to make cards that I knew that I would love to be able to give to somebody. And I absolutely love the way this one turned out. The sentiment reads, if you can't read it, it says, "Enjoy life, it's delicious." And that little piggy, he's enjoying his piece of watermelon. So I'm taking the rest of that green cardstock that was in the kit that I die cut with the circle there, using that as my card base. Now I'm going to add some liquid glue on the back of this, or some tape runner. Yeah, I thought I used liquid glue. So I'm using the Gina K Connect glue to add this to my card base. Really easy to line up. And then once I get that in place, I'm going to add, instead of using some of the sequins in this collection, I'm going to add a little bit of shimmer using my Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen here. And I've added that to the piece of watermelon as well as some of the blades of grass. I didn't do it to all of them because that would take forever. But I did add it to just randomly a few here and there, just add a little bit of shimmer all over that piece there. Hopefully you can kind of see it on the camera. It's kind of hard to capture on camera sometimes, the shimmer. One of my pieces wasn't all the way onto my card base, so I had to get that glued down. But you can see a little bit of the shimmer there, just a little bit. And I love, again, how this one turned out. Card number 4, we're working with the Farmhouse collection. And I'm going to take, this is actually technically, when I was making all these cards, this was the very first one the cow card with the cow print is the very first card I created with. And then this was my second card I actually made as I was making these cards. But, so I'm just choosing some of the pattern papers that came in this collection. And then once I get, happy with what I've chosen here, I'm going to do some die cutting with this. I've got a die here. This is from Hello Bluebird. And I specifically thought about this stamp set, using it with this die because it cuts out these little bitty squares here. And these little bitty chicks are perfect size for these squares. So once I get that, I'm going to arrange this on here as much as I can because I like to stick to my fingers there for some reason. But I'm going to take my same black ink that I've been using throughout the video. I'm going to stamp each one of these little chicks onto these squares. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and color them off camera. And I've just added a little bit of a sky with my Copic markers and some grass, and of course colored him in with some yellows and some oranges. And I think these little chicks are super, super cute. And if you have not, again, seen the unboxing video, I will mention that the stamp sets that you see in each of these sets are exclusive to these kits. So that's what makes it so unique with these card kits that are coming from Scrapping for Less. So I am kind of arranging the die cut pieces that come from that die, and I'm just kind of figuring out which ones, which kind of variation I wanted to use here. So I've settled on one of the variations, taking my tape runner, adding some tape runner to the back of this one pattern paper piece, getting that lined up onto my white card base and getting that into place. And then I'm going to add the frame. Oh yeah, I'm going to cut it down because I did cut it just a little, or I guess I didn't cut it as well as I thought I had. But that's, no big deal. That's what scissors are for. So I can cut that flush to the card base. Once I get that all cut down, I'm going to take the frame, add some liquid glue to the back of the frame, and then get that also adhered to my card panel. I absolutely love this glue because it is so small, it's skinny enough to fit in your hand, but if the glue, it's really easy. The actual bottle itself is easy to squeeze, so that's what I like about it. And the Lawn Fawn glue is about the same thing too. So I've got this other piece using the orange piece pattern paper from that pack. I'm going to arrange my pieces into those back into the the square pieces that it came from. And I wasn't paying attention here and thinking that I had the arrangement that I wanted, but I wanted this one is kind of looking toward the left hand side. I wanted him all the way to the end of this panel here. So each one of those little chicks is looking into the middle. You'll see here what I'm talking about. But I want to get him on the end there. Then I'm going to add the little middle chick, and then the one that's looking to the right, where it looks like they're both little chicks are looking on the inside to the middle chick. So getting that into place, and it's just like adding puzzle pieces to a puzzle. Super easy and super fast to do. And once I get that into place, then I'm going to work on my sentiment. Oh yeah, well I got to glue down my orange piece. So taking the same glue, and I did die cut this with some white cardstock too. So I'm going to actually pop this, the pattern paper piece onto the white cardstock piece, and it'll give it just a little bit of dimension to this one little panel here. So once I got that, I'm going to add the glue to this one little panel. And then I'm going to add some more and just easily plop this on top. Easy to line up. Then once I have that lined up, then I'm going to turn this over and add some liquid glue on the back of this. And then add this portion right back inside onto my card panel here. I love how a lot of these cards overall came together really simple. Even though it's a total of 5 cards that I made throughout this video, it took me, I would say, pretty much all day because I was having some issues with my camera. At first it would get, full of, all of the memory would get full. So I would have to take some of the video footage off. Then my actual camera battery would die, so I'd have to charge up my whole camera. So it was a comedy of errors, I guess. But overall, it took me probably a full day to do all of these cards, which is not bad. So now I'm taking some of I'm taking the baker's twine that comes in this certain collection. I'm going to cut that in half. And then you saw there that I just kind of looped it over my finger and then made a bow. I usually don't put, if you've seen any of my videos, normally you don't see ribbon or baker's twine really hardly ever on my cards. I used to do that, in the beginning of whenever I started to make cards, but I've really gotten out of it lately. but I was trying to create a way to add some of this twine to my card. So this is the best way that I found to do that with, and I think it turned out just fine. So now I've added the glue right in the middle there, and I'm taking some scissors and making sure that these are really sharp scissors. I don't use my paper scissors because this would take, you know, it wouldn't cut as clean as if I were doing with my paper scissors. So I have some dedicated scissors to cut, you know, things like this, the twine and the ribbon. Now I'm going to take some of the sequins from the pack and then add this to my panel using the same glue. I'm trying to incorporate some of the colors that I already use on the card, so it would all go together just, you know, real easily. So sometimes those sequins like to stick to my finger and not my tool there, but that's okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some more dots of glue and add the other two sequins onto the panel. And then that will complete the card number 4. And then I will kind of show you here up close what that card looks like. I have to fuss with everything first. So that is all complete, and now we're going to work on card number 5. Now card number 5, if you were to get the whole entire kit that includes the 5th collection, that's what this is. But if you don't option to get that you know, the 5th element to this card kit, then this would not be included in what you get. So I wanted to just kind of make sure that that is understood. So what I'm going to do is take the stamp from this kit, or this collection, and it's a beautiful barn. I just absolutely love how this barn is. It's gorgeous. And I am just making sure that I've taken out the foam pad from my Misty, because this is a red rubber foam cling stamp. And I did steal some of the papers from, I believe it's collection 2. But I'm taking the burlap ribbon in this collection, and I'm going to add that to, it's going to be my background essentially. So I've cut down this piece that I stamped and with a stitched rectangle die. Now I'm going to add this pattern paper that I cut down, and I just loved how the black and white and the bandana pattern kind of brought everything together with this burlap ribbon. So now I'm going to add some, well, I'm going to make this like a banner in first. Again, doing the same thing that I did on the first card, going from the middle and then going from each side. Now I'm going to add some really strong adhesive to the back of this panel here. The easiest way to do this, I found, is to use some really sticky tape like the Sookwang tape. And it really does help to add, you know, really textured ribbon like this to your cards. So, because you can't really use liquid glue and you can't use tape runner because it's not strong enough. So I like to have something like this for any type of really textured ribbon. So that completes our cards today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on my next video. Bye-bye.